Hello friends, I'm Rosa. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about the 8 best romance books that I have read throughout 2022. I have read a lot of really good ones, to be honest. Like, I looked at the stack and most of them are definitely like between like 4.5 and 5 stars for sure. Maybe they just hit me in a different way, but I don't know what it is, but when a contemporary romance is good, it just really gets me. So we're gonna go through the 8 best ones that I have read. I will make sure to leave links to all of them in the description box down below if you want to go check them out. So they'll be linked to both Amazon but also Book Depository. And I'm gonna try to go through this so this video doesn't end up being like 30 minutes long, but we'll see. So let's get started, shall we? Number 8, we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is the first one of the it's not her first one as far as I know, but it's the first one of the newer ones, you know, the People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers. There's the whole thing. I have the other two, but I wanted to read this one first before getting to them. And I really like this. This was like the right amount of sad and you know, that sort of vibe, but also fun and charming and romantic. So in this book we follow 2 authors. One is our lead girl who has moved to this cabin after I think her father dies. Anyway, something has at least happened. She writes rom-coms usually, but is kind of like having a hard time finding the spark to write a good rom-com because she's just not feeling like it. So she goes to this cabin to refresh her mind and also try to get away from things and maybe get a little bit of inspiration back. Once she gets there, she finds out that the neighbor is also a writer, one she actually knew of in the past, as in actually knew them in person. And the two did not get along very well. They were super rivals. He writes literary fiction, but kind of depressing literary fiction. But is also struggling to find his next big hit, his next book. So the two of them decide to make a bet. He's gonna write a rom-com and she's gonna write a literary fiction. They're gonna make sure both of them are big hits, bestsellers. And so whoever wins this competition, I don't remember what they get, but that's sort of what it's about. So rivals, but also research for rom-coms because he's not really, you know, into that sort of thing. So that's Beach Read by Emily Henry, and this is so much fun. This is so charming. I really want to reread it actually now that I think about it. I'll save it for the summer because this feels like a summer read, but it's so charming. Highly would recommend. It's definitely one of the more serious rom-coms, I think, because it does touch on some I think it's loss of family in it. I'm pretty sure it's her father who passed. It just has a nice balance and I really enjoyed that. So Beach Read, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading the next one. I feel like none of my books today are going to be able to stand on their own, so we're not going to do that. Okay, bye. And then we're actually entering the ones that I've more or less given 5 stars, all of them. Oops, I'm sorry, Emily Henry. It's not that you sucked. Not at all. Loved you. It's just actually the next one, almost 5 stars, but it's just missing a little bit. So I read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, which is a very slow burn kind of romance. We follow a girl who has been working for this guy who is he's an American football player, but he's from Canada actually, and this is important. She's been working for him as an assistant, but kind of hates it because he sucks. He is rude and not polite. I mean, yeah, he just kind of sucks. He doesn't know how to say good morning, for example. She's had enough, so she quits, but one day when she comes home to her kind of crappy apartment, she finds him sitting outside. He comes in with her and then starts begging her to come back to work as an assistant for him because she's the only assistant that he's ever liked, and she's like, "You like me?" Because trust me, he has given no signal that he likes her in any way whatsoever. As it turns out, there might be a little bit more to this because our friend here, the guy, is having some trouble with his visa. And so he proposes that if she comes back and helps him with a few more things than he expected from her to start out with as well, and also marry him so that he can stay in the US, he will pay her because she has some debt and also because of various things. He will pay her, handle that, yes. And so she's like, well, Can't really turn that down. So this is fake dating, arranged marriage, or marriage for convenience, I suppose. Forced proximity because she also has to live with him, and grumpy sunshine as well because she's sunshine and he's very, very grumpy. But that's like typical Mariana Zapata. Very much grumpy sunshine vibes from basically almost everything. And also incredibly slow burn. Like she's the slow burn queen. This one is no exception. So I think the first book that I read of hers was Luna and the Lie and I liked it. But this just had like an extra layer of humor to it that was really surprising to me actually. And I really enjoyed it. I thought the forced proximity is like one of my favorite tropes as well when it comes to romance. And I thought it was so well done in this book. Overall, just a very funny read and would definitely recommend. Although a little bit on the longer side. But honestly, I kind of flew through it. I think it's like, if not 600 pages, it's closing in on 600 pages, but genuinely you just kind of like fly through it anyway, so yeah. Then we got one that I talked about recently, and that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I can't believe this is so far down on the list, but like, this is so good. So in this book, we follow a girl who has also moved to a cottage in a small town after going through some things. She just needs to be a little bit on her own, you know, have a change of scenery and just get away. So she goes to this cabin, this cottage that has been in the family for a while. And this also means that she has to get introduced to a whole new town and people in this town. And so one day while she's walking down the street in the town, she bumps into Archer. Archer is like, I wouldn't call him the town weirdo because that's really not what he is, but a lot of people see him as the town weirdo. And that's because he doesn't talk. He does. He's just mute, so like he can't verbally talk, but he talks sign language. People are not aware of this though. He's been a recluse for a long time, a little bit of a hermit. He just kind of keeps to himself because he doesn't have anyone to communicate with. However, our lead girl actually, as it turns out, also knows sign language because she used to communicate with her dad in that way. And so the two of them get acquainted and he finally it's about Archer basically opening up and learning how to function in a world, like in the world, not in a world, in the world outside of his property. And it's so touching. Archer was adorable. I really liked with this one that the lead guy was completely different from like anything that I've read before because he's insecure. He has a wall built up around himself and it's nice to see it kind of crumbling down throughout the story. There's a couple of things that are a little bit predictable. Didn't mind it too much. I think that's like a general thing when it comes to rom-coms or this is not a rom-com, this is just a romance. But it's a general thing when it comes to romances. They're not supposed to be like super twisty, if you will. At least I don't think so. And I adored this. Like I don't know, I flew through this. This was so nice. I loved it a lot. Would highly recommend to anyone. I'm very close to a 5 stars as well, like very close. I can't really pinpoint what else I would want from it to hit 5 stars, so maybe it is straight up 5 stars. I don't know. Then we got another one that I read very recently, which is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and this is another romance, contemporary romance, not a rom-com. We follow our characters, we follow our lead girl. So it's only written from her point of view, and it's through 2 different timelines, kind of. So we're in the now, where she's going back to this town that she used to visit every summer because her family had a cottage, and the 2 guys from the neighboring cottage, their mother has passed. So she's going back to the town to go to the funeral for her. As we're told, something has happened between her and the youngest guy from the cottage next to their cottage. But we don't know what it is. So that is in the now. And then the past basically follows these 2, but also the big brother throughout the years. So we get to see them kind of grow up, but also get closer to each other. And it's a bit of a coming of age, I suppose, as well. Or not necessarily, actually, now that I think about it. And just like see how their relationship evolves with them getting older. And it leads to the moment where stuff started to go bad as well. Because we're told that there's something happened, something went bad at some point, and we just don't know what it is. So that's Every Summer After, and this was so well crafted, I think. It's a debut, which really surprised me because I thought it was so well written. I felt for the characters about like 75 pages in. I was like, nothing better happened to them, but at the same time I kind of knew that at some point something was gonna happen. I felt very protective of them. I think with stories like this where you follow them throughout the years, you get very connected to characters because like you've been with them for a long time, and this was definitely no exception. I like the whole thing. I love the whole thing. So good. So I'm looking forward to her next novel. Like very positively surprised by that one. Then we got one. This one I actually borrowed from my sister, even though she doesn't know. I bought it for her for Christmas, but I'm not reading in the book. I'm just borrowing it for this video. Don't tell her, okay? So it's Things We Never Got Over. Yeah, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which is definitely entering the rom-com territory, but still a little bit on the serious side as well. We follow a girl who, after running away from a situation, okay, she ran away from her wedding. She just legged it, ran away, didn't want to get married, so she just ran. And she ended up in this town. Supposedly her twin sister lives in this town. I don't know, I can't remember if that's why she ends up there, but anyway, everybody, as it turns out, hates her twin sister. However, when she arrives, they think her twin is her, so they start treating her like crap. And she's very much like, what the heck is going on? Why is everyone being so mean and rude to me? She's even having trouble, like she shows up at a bar and basically just needs to relax a little bit because she's been driving for a while, and the bar owner's like, leave right now, don't want to see your face here, go away. And so as it turns out, they quickly find out that it's not actually the twin, but it's our lead girl, the good twin. And so the bar owner and our girl, don't necessarily get off on like they're not really being nice to each other from the start, but there was something going on there, you know, like a little bit of a vibe, if you will. Our lead girl also quickly finds out that her sister has actually left her with an unexpected niece. Like she did not know that she had a niece, but she does. And so it's about our lead girl learning to trust after what happened after she ran away from her wedding, but also taking care of her niece and also getting to know the bar owner, whose point of view I'm pretty sure you were also reading from in this one. Yeah, his name is Knox. He has some trouble as well, like he has some things to deal with as well, which is why it's called Things We Never Got Over. I again loved the balance between serious and fun in this one. It definitely has some on the nose kind of humor to it, and I'm not necessarily one for like single parent tropes. It's just not my thing, but even though it's her niece, that's definitely the trope that we're dealing with in this one. And I didn't mind it, to be honest. Other than that, there are so many tropes in this one because we also have fake dating, we have neighbors. Is that a thing? I think it's a thing. I'm pretty sure that's also a trope. There are some other ones, I just can't remember which ones. They're kind of like subtle, but they're definitely there. And they work so well. So well entwined in the story. Yeah, just a good book. Like it's a bit on the longer side, but like it's almost 500 pages. But I read this so quickly because I loved it. I flew through it. So good. Like I can really do that with contemporaries if I enjoy them a lot, and definitely did with this one. So I'm excited for Things We Hide from the Light. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. The pink one. I'm looking forward to the pink one that's out next year. Also thanks to my sister for lending this to me without her knowing. Okay, I'll go wrap it up after I'm done with this video. I promise. She doesn't watch my videos, by the way, so we're good. Then we have a straight up rom-com, which is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Definitely one that you either love or you don't, because I've heard a lot of people hate on this, but I've also seen a lot of people rave over this. So this is, I just want to preface this by saying that it is a Reylo fanfic. I've watched the first one of the new trilogy, or the new 3 Star Wars movies, so I don't really have a relationship to Reylo, which is one of the reasons I think that I don't mind it being a Reylo fic. But I also know that that bothers some people, so just want to put that out there. But in this book, we follow Olive, yes, who is a PhD candidate. I usually just call her a student, but she's a PhD candidate. So she spends a lot of time on her studies. Olive has been dating a little bit, but it's not really going the way that she wants it to. Honestly though, I don't think she minds too much. She just wants to focus on her studies. However, after she went on a couple of dates with this one guy who she didn't really get along with that well, but turns out that he really gets along with her friend, who now feels bad about it and is like, Olive, why are you not dating? You need to just date. She's like, listen, I'm on a date right now, don't worry about it. But actually Olive is at the school doing sciencey stuff. And so when she finds out that her friend is also at the school, she decides in a panic to basically kiss the first guy that she sees, who happens to be this guy whose name is Adam. He's also a professor at the school and he's known to be a major grump. And so to save face as well, because her friend stops in the hallway and is like, what the heck is going on here? Why are you sucking face with this guy? Everybody hates him, including you. The two of them decide that, well, they can just fake being in a relationship. No biggie. So that's what this is about. Grumpy sunshine, fake dating. I have a thing with fake dating. I don't know if you can tell. It's a thing. And I think it works so well with like fake dating, forced proximity, grumpy sunshine. It's like add some like enemies to lovers in there somehow, although that doesn't really fully work in contemporary. That's more like a fantasy thing. We can do rivals to lovers instead. It's just that enemies to lovers, you kind of try to kill each other, and I feel like that doesn't really have a place in a contemporary, because that's, I think you'd end up in prison then, I don't know. But like those are the best tropes. So this really hit me in some, like it really hit me, like, you know, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. I thought it was self-aware. I had a great time with it. Just be aware that Adam is big. I know where you're thinking. Get your head out of the gutter. I just meant like he's big, okay? Don't think like that. All of the orange bits is where he's mentioned as being like tall or has wide shoulders or something else, you know? So that's a thing. Just be aware of that going into this. But I think it was written like that as well for just fun. At least I hope it was, but I don't know. I thought it was fun. So the Love Hypothesis. And then we have one that I don't have as a physical copy, but that I adored, which was From Lukov with Love, another one by Mariana Zapata. Another, actually this time kind of enemies to lovers, but I also want to call it something else because they don't try to kill each other. But they're definitely not friends. Can we say not friends to lovers? No, that sounds weird. Doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it? Nah. They are also colleagues, and there's some forced proximity in there, and there's also He Falls First, which Lukov, I forgot his first name, adore him to bits. Anyway, so in this one we follow our lead girl whose name I've forgotten, but she is a figure skater. Is that what it's called? Like she does figure skating on ice? I forgot what that's called, but I'm gonna call it a figure skater and hope that I'm correct. She is, however, getting a little bit older compared to a lot of her competitors, and she also does pairs, but unfortunately her partner has left her for someone else. And she's not that easy to work with either. Not because she has an attitude, it's just she's not easy to work with for whatever reason. So she's having a hard time finding a new partner, both because of her age, but also because of that. In comes her rival, Lukov. I've forgotten his first name. And the two of them don't get along, have never gotten along, and she hates his face. Like, she is so tired of seeing him everywhere because he's so successful. He can have anyone he wants, always wins all the tournaments. I think his family also owns the place where they train at. Like, he just has it all. And as things just kind of fall into place, or, you know, he actually, as it turns out, is missing a partner and wants no one else but her for the next season. He also knows that she doesn't really have a choice, so the two of them make a deal. They're gonna be partners for the next season, see where it goes, and so it's about them trading and getting closer, kind of hating on each other, insulting each other's faces. It's a lot of fun. What's not charming about that? The banter in this one is what, like, it's so funny. The banter in this one is the reason that I love it so much, but also I just think the characters are so great. Like, I don't want to spoil, I just pulled my own hair. Ow, that hurt. I don't want to spoil anything, so it's a little bit, it's a little bit hard to explain, but there are just some situations in this book where I'm like, like it felt like a hug when I was reading it. So I adore it. I'm so happy that it got a lot of hype throughout 2022, especially in the first half. Like, people really seemed to notice it. It was also when I read it myself, actually. But yeah, would highly recommend it. Also a little bit of a slow burn. And just a nice like evolution for the two characters as well throughout the book. So from Lukov with love. And then lastly, and I realize this one might be sticking out a little bit, but these are basically romance books that are not fantasy. So lastly, I have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is the best romance book that I've read this year, although this one is more on the historical fiction side compared to contemporary. So that's why it stands out just a little bit in this bunch. Would highly recommend it anyway if you like adult contemporary romances though. In this one, we follow a journalist actually whose name is Monica. She works for a magazine that's been trying to get an interview with Evelyn Hugo, Hollywood star, like old Hollywood star, recluse as well, has kind of been keeping private for the past many years and doesn't really do interviews, but she's been donating some dresses for an auction, I think it is, for some kind of, I think it's breast cancer possibly. She's donated some dresses, and in connection with this auction they want to do an interview with her. However, Evelyn Hugo doesn't really do interviews, and so after trying and trying and trying to get this interview, she finally writes back that she'll do it, but only if they send Monica. Monica is like, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know Evelyn Hugo. I have no connection to her whatsoever, so I don't know why she so desperately wants me to write it. But she ends up going there anyway, even though the magazine has kind of been trying to get someone else on the case. Evelyn is not having it. She only wants Monica, so off to Evelyn's apartment Monica goes, and once she gets there, it turns out that Evelyn doesn't actually want to do an interview with her. She wants Monica to write her biography, which means that Monica will basically earn a lot of money from this. She's thankful, confused, and Evelyn is like, trust me, once I'm done telling my story, you're gonna hate me. And so that's what this book is about. This was so many things. Oh gosh. This is another one where you follow a character, even though it's like told in the now. You get inserts now and then from the now, from Monica and Evelyn talking to each other, but a lot of it is Evelyn going on about her life throughout the years, and it's one of those stories where you follow a character throughout many years, and I feel like I get so connected to those characters that I just become a little bit protective. I love Evelyn Hugo, but at the same time I also kind of hate her. Like, it's a thing. She does some things that I don't agree with. She has a little bit of she's very selfish, but at the same time I really respect her attitude towards certain things as well. Like, I think she's a very strong woman, and so for that I really respect her. As for everything else, there were certain things, oh gosh, this has so much in it. Like, it's heartbreaking and it's lovely, but like in a heart-wrenching kind of way. Like, as in, I would recommend this, but just bring tissues. I don't know. Does that sound, is that healthy for us? Like, anyway, I thought it was great. I loved it to bits. I read this during a readathon, and I'm gonna reread it at some point, not during a readathon, so that I can actually take my time, read the little bits of it as well, like not just hurry through it, just take my time with it. I thought this was so good. Like, it just had me from the start. I was so invested, so ready to go into Evelyn's story as well. It felt like reading a biography, and I don't like biographies. But it's good when it's a fictional one, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So yes, this was great. Loved it to bits. Definitely worth the hype. Deserving of the hype, and my #1 spot on this list. So those were the best romance books that I've read throughout 2022. Let me know if you read any of them. Let me know your thoughts on them. Again, I have left links to them in the description box down below if you want to check them out. But that's all I got for you guys today, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this from me, but also videos like readathons and bookish unboxings, TBR videos and wrap-ups and all of the other booktube stuff, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. But I'm gonna leave you to it, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Oh, you know you're beautiful, and it's like